Over $50,000 worth of crops in Texas were destroyed overnight under the hooves of a massive wild boar herd. Now, the largest trap ever set is ready. Will they manage to catch the entire herd in one go, or will everything continue to be destroyed before the farm is saved? This video documents the entire process of setting up the 30-foot diameter circular trap to capture an entire herd of wild boars. This is a very large number of boars, and if successful, it will capture a significant amount. This is the largest trap the farmer has ever set. The goal is to catch at least 30 boars at once. If the entire herd isn't caught, the remaining ones will become wary, and it will be harder to trap them the next time. This all stems from the fact that this 500-acre farm has suffered significant losses. In Texas, wild boars are no longer a rare sight in a few remote farms. They appear everywhere, from the dry slopes in the west, cotton and cornfields in the central, to the dense forested riverbanks in the east. Deep footprints in the wet mud are becoming more common. It's not just one or two wandering boars, but entire herds moving at night. Texas is now considered the epicenter of the wild boar crisis in the U.S., with over 2.5 million boars, nearly half of the wild boar population in the country. Texas wild boars are actually a mix of different breeds. Escaped domestic pigs and wild boars imported from Europe for sport hunting many decades ago. They are heat-resistant, good at finding water, and can eat almost anything. An adult boar can weigh between 200 to 660 pounds. Large boars with broad shoulders and thick fat layers can easily knock down steel fences if the structure is not sturdy enough. They live in herds, called sounders, consisting of sows and piglets. A herd can have anywhere from 10 to more than 30 members. Mature boars typically live alone, only joining the herd during mating season. Wild boars are mostly nocturnal, especially in areas with high hunting pressure. Their sense of smell is extremely sharp. Even the smallest change in smell or sound can cause the entire herd to change direction. Wild boars can carry dangerous diseases like brucellosis and leptospirosis, posing threats to livestock and humans. Traffic accidents involving wild boars are not uncommon, especially on rural roads at night. If left uncontrolled, these aggressive wild boars will continue to devastate farmland. To combat this, Texas allows year-round wild boar hunting on private land without seasonal restrictions. Control methods include large cage traps, remote-controlled corral traps, night hunting with night vision goggles, and even controlled helicopter hunting on large 1,000-acre farms. A 4-gauge steel circular trap was built like a solid fortress. The circular design creates an open space, encouraging the entire herd of boars to confidently walk in. The 8-foot steel gate, weighing 150 pounds, is connected via LTE and can be activated remotely via phone. The trap is set at an intersection. The steel gate is carefully barricaded to prevent the herd from escaping and is secured by T-shaped steel posts driven 90 centimeters deep to withstand the push of mature boars. Every day, about 90 kilograms of corn is scattered. The gate is left open for 3 to 5 nights to allow the herd to familiarize itself with the trap. When the infrared camera confirms the entire herd is deep inside, the gate is activated from 6.6 kilometers away via a silencer. The reason I do this is that there are other boars inside the trap, and once the gate closes, there will be no way out. As a result, 32 wild boars were trapped with an estimated total weight of over 2,500 pounds.
Okay, I didn't know she was doing it.
The morning over the fields began with an unusual silence. When the farmers stepped out to inspect their land, they quickly realized the ground had changed. Long rows of soil had been torn apart into large patches, as if a giant plow had passed through during the night. Many crops had been uprooted, their young roots exposed on the damp mud. All of these signs pointed to something familiar yet troubling. A sounder of wild boars had visited the area during the night in search of food. At first, many people thought it was just a random visit, but only a few days later, the same kinds of tracks appeared again. The damaged patches of soil gradually spread, expanding from the edges of the field deeper into the cultivated area. The wild boars were not only searching for food, but also repeatedly returning along the same route. Once the herd developed a fixed travel pattern, simple attempts to drive them away were no longer effective. That was when wildlife management teams began to intervene. Instead of rushing to chase the animals away, they chose a more cautious method, studying the behavior of the wild boars before taking any action. Infrared cameras were installed along the forest edge and the trails leading into the fields. After only a few nights of observation, the picture became clearer. The boars moved in groups of 10 to 15 individuals, usually appearing at the same time each night and following the exact same paths. Understanding this pattern allowed the experts to choose more effective trap locations. Instead of placing many small devices scattered around, they focused on the intersections of the trails. There, a large steel cage trap was carefully installed. The trap frame was built from thick steel bars and firmly anchored into the ground to withstand the powerful force of adult boars. The trapdoor was designed as a gravity drop gate that could shut quickly once the trigger mechanism was activated. For several consecutive days, food was placed near the trap area while the door remained open. Fermented corn and various grains were scattered evenly inside and around the steel cage. The scent of the food quickly attracted the attention of the wild boars. At first, they stood at a distance and observed. The adults were usually the first to approach, sniffing around the area before cautiously stepping inside to test the space. After a few nights, the initial hesitation gradually disappeared. Cameras recorded the moment when the entire group began entering the trap to search for food. The younger boars followed the adults, moving through the trapdoor naturally without realizing they were stepping into a controlled space. Once the experts were confident that most of the herd had grown accustomed to entering the trap, the trigger mechanism was finally activated. Food was placed deeper inside, forcing the boars to move fully into the interior of the cage. When the leading boar touched the trigger bar, the trapdoor instantly dropped down, sealing the exit. The moment happened very quickly. Within just a few seconds, the steel cage shifted from an open state to a completely locked enclosure. The sturdy bars kept the structure stable, preventing the boars from breaking through the frame. The following morning, the management team returned to inspect the site. Inside the cage was the entire group of wild boars that had been damaging the fields for weeks.
Okay, I didn't know she was going.
Thanks to careful observation of behavior and thorough preparation, they were able to control many individuals at once rather than dealing with each animal separately. This method not only helps reduce damage for farmers, but also demonstrates the importance of understanding wild animal behavior. When humans patiently observe and apply the right strategy, conflicts between wildlife and agricultural land can be managed more effectively. In many farming regions, cage trap systems like these are becoming an important part of wild boar management strategies. They allow managers to monitor herds, control population numbers, and reduce pressure on crops without disrupting the surrounding ecosystem. In many rural areas, the presence of wild boars rarely begins with loud or obvious signs. It usually starts with very subtle changes: a few garden beds dug up overnight, deep hoofprints pressed along the edge of a fence, or a corner of the yard overturned as if something had just been searched for beneath the soil. Wild boars are animals with strong memories and remarkable adaptability. They do not move randomly as many people assume. Within each herd, there are typically alert individuals that act as observers. They move ahead or pause to check the surroundings before the rest of the herd approaches a new area. If they detect anything unusual, the entire group withdraws immediately. This caution makes managing them far more difficult than simply placing a basic trap in the middle of a field. For that reason, the first step in the management process is usually not to set a trap right away. It begins with monitoring. Infrared cameras are installed along the trails that the herd frequently travels. These devices operate throughout the night, recording the time of appearance, direction of movement, and the number of individuals in the herd. Data that may seem simple plays a crucial role in shaping the strategy behind the operation. Without accurate information, any trap is based merely on assumption. After several days of observation, wildlife management teams begin preparing the trapping site. What matters is not deploying the trap as quickly as possible, but making the location familiar to the herd. Bait is placed in the same position for several consecutive nights. At first, only a few individuals enter the area. Gradually, the entire herd returns more frequently. When the wild boars no longer display signs of wariness, it indicates that they have accepted the site as a normal part of their surrounding environment. The design of the trapping system also plays a vital role. Many modern models use circular or wide arc-shaped structures. This shape eliminates narrow corners that wild boars often use to push against or brace themselves against the frame. When fixed leverage points are absent, panic responses are significantly reduced. This not only keeps the herd stable but also makes subsequent handling safer for both humans and animals. Another factor that is rarely mentioned but extremely important is the timing of system activation. The objective of the trap is not merely to capture a single individual. In wild boar management, effectiveness is achieved only when most of the herd is controlled at the same time. Therefore, many modern systems use cameras that transmit live images to a phone or monitoring device. Operators can observe remotely and wait until the entire herd has entered the area before triggering the closing mechanism. The entire process unfolds quickly and causes minimal disturbance to the surrounding environment. There are no sudden loud noises or prolonged chases.
Come on. Come on.
When the system functions properly, the herd barely notices the change until the enclosure has been fully secured. Notably, these systems are not built on strength or direct confrontation. They are developed from a clear understanding of animal behavior. When people take the time to observe how wild boars move, how they respond to their environment, and how they make choices, management becomes far more effective.
Let's go. Yep.
In modern wildlife management, the trap is no longer viewed as a symbol of coercion. It has become part of a long-term strategy aimed at reducing conflict between humans and nature. When properly designed and responsibly used, trapping systems help protect crops, property, and the stability of rural communities. Ultimately, what makes the difference is not the size of the trap or the strength of its materials. The difference lies in how people approach the problem. When, instead of reacting hastily, they choose to observe, analyze, and act at the right moment, wild boar management becomes a controlled, sustainable process aligned with ecological balance. In a small village in the southern United States, the nights are no longer as quiet as they once were. Wild boars have begun to move in, tearing up fields, bending wooden fences, and leaving fresh tracks right beside the homes where people live. But this time, the villagers chose a different approach. Instead of reacting the old way with scattered and short-term measures, they made a new decision together: to build a shared control system for the entire village. This system was designed to guide the movement of wild boars and reduce long-term conflict with wildlife. This time, the question was no longer, how many wild boars can we catch? But how to ensure the entire village could sleep peacefully again. The biggest change was not the equipment, but the mindset. The goal of the system was not to catch as many boars as possible, but to break their habit of moving toward the village. The focus shifted from reaction to prevention. Instead of placing traps in areas already heavily damaged, control structures were positioned in transition zones, places where wild boars usually slow down when moving from the forest toward farmland. Here, they reduce their speed, observe their surroundings, and assess the environment before choosing their next direction. These are the critical points in their travel routes. Even a small change here can influence the movement of an entire herd. For that reason, each structure is not considered a separate trap, but part of a broader control network surrounding the village. Effective control begins with strategy, not tools. Once the system was established, residents began using bait to attract the wild boars. During the early stage, no traps were activated. Everything remained unchanged for several nights, allowing the boars to approach, observe, and gradually become familiar with the structures.
Come on. Load up. Dusty. Come on. Come on.
The cameras installed were not meant to count animals, but to track how they move, how long they stay, and how the group responds to the environment. This data helps managers understand wild boar behavior and make decisions based on observation rather than guesswork or instinct. By avoiding rushed intervention, the system operates according to natural behavior instead of forcing outcomes. When animals do not feel threatened, their true behavior becomes visible. There is no sudden blockade and no aggressive driving away. Instead, subtle adjustments gradually reduce how often wild boars move deeper toward the village, guiding them back to their natural areas. For the wild boars, these are simply different choices within their environment. But for humans, it is a way of guiding behavior without increasing stress or unnecessary risk. The entire system functions as a unified structure, driven by data, timing, and coordination between people. A system is only truly effective when every part moves in the same rhythm.
Yep, yep, yep.
By the next morning, the village slowly returns to its familiar rhythm. There are no new tracks on the ground and no new damage to fields or homes. Life begins to stabilize again.
Go.
In wildlife management, long-term solutions rarely come from direct confrontation. They come from understanding animal behavior, using data, and applying responsible guidance strategies. Peace does not come from how many animals are captured in a single night, but from creating an environment where people and nature can coexist without conflict.
There you go, there you go. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep. Let's go, let's go. Yep, 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 yep. There you go.
If you found this story interesting, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to explore more real stories about life and nature.